What's up, folks? Another fine day in rural Saskatchewan today. So I've been tinkering around the shop here, getting ready to cut the shift collar for my reverse change gearbox there, and getting some things fixed up. I tried out those zinc aluminum brazing rods. They're okay. Like, this stuff melts super fast. Like, it's what Google wasn't kidding when it said it melted at 300 and some degrees, 395 degrees C. So I kind of burnt through right there a little bit. I'm not too concerned about it. I think it was already broken. So, but I don't know. It went in kind of ugly. Seems to have cleaned up rather well. I don't know how good it's gonna hold. Like, I can't spread it open or nothing from what I can tell. At least not yet. We'll find out when we put her on the lathe anyway. In any case, I was making the little bracket for my, oops, keep kicking this down there. Making the little bracket for the lead screw bearing on the end there. I had this made up. I'm probably going to make a different one, a little bit skinnier. One that matches the profile of this, because this one's just a little on the long side. I just copied the one that was on there, and which is probably why it bound up in the first place. So I'm going to make one that only goes up to here and that the threads can't, inadvertently push a bunch of shit inside it. That's my prognosis anyway. So I'm going to make a new one of those. I am making the little deal that's going to go behind it. And I have it in the milling attachment right now. Utilizing my fixture plate finally for what I had intended to use it for in the first place. Anyways, all right, so I'm going to bring it back. 150 thou. It should be our zero mark there. I'm only taking it about 50 thou at a time. That's plenty for this little guy. Now I find when you gotta do a partial, like not a full tooth of a cut there, you're not doing the full depth. It's best for the milling attachment wise anyway. It's best to stay to the top of the tool if you can. Because otherwise, if you get too low, get below center, it wants to pick it up a little bit. So this way, if you're feeding in the direction of your cut, then it seems to be a lot smoother that way. So that's what I do, and it seems to work out. All right, and always tighten up these gibs, especially if you're using a homemade jobby like this. Keep everything tight, because it'll make your life go a lot easier. Okay, another 50 thousandths depth to cut. Oh, that's 100. That might be a bit too much. I've done 100, but it's too much. It's too much. Okay. And engage. I'll test out my little clamps here in a second. Just take it easy when you're going in, when you're first biting in there. And once you get going, you should be able to cook along pretty good. 150 thou. Grab the oil in there, clean up the chips. Everything locked down as usual. That's about where we want to be. Just going to take a look here. What I want to do, I want to start feeding up now and blend that in there. I'm probably going to bring it back and down. Oop. That gib is really tight. Like I didn't mess around with that because, yeah. That's another thing with these milling attachments too. I find that if you go, up, they tend to be a little more manageable to deal with. So this will essentially be 150 thou depth of cut, but it's a small cut and it's on the side of the end mill for the most part. So we'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. What else should I lock down? I guess we'll lock down this gib. Whatever one you're not using, lock that sucker down. And if it's this, and if it's the compound, I'm just going to zoom back out. So if it's compound, still you should have it pretty snug. Whatever one you're not using, lock it down. And I don't know. I'm going to try 150 thou. See how that goes out. We're using our Z-axis. That's a pretty tight gib on there, so we'll see what happens. If it starts to suck, well, that might be a little too tight. Yeah, I can feel it kind of wanting to bite in there, but like I say, you lock everything down, it goes pretty good. Taking hogging this much meat off, go slow. Just take it easy. No need to rush it. all I'm doing with that side. All right, so I'm basically on the final cut here. I swapped it, coming from the other direction now. So this is a little bit trickier because, well, it's not really trickier. It's just, I don't know. Like if you know your lathe and you know where it's sloppy and you know what it's going to do, you got to keep in mind that's turning. So it's going to want to pick it up. So right off the bat, I'll zoom back out here. Let's take this right off there, actually, in fact. So it's gonna, as it's turning on the back side, it's gonna want to pick it up. So you gotta make sure that you got all your slop taken out of here. So if you're going up with it, if you're bringing the work up, you want to like take it back down a scotch, just so it can't lift it up again, and you kind of lock it in there. And then don't forget to button up your gibs for sure. And for me, I'll only do it like this is a 1/2 inch end mill, so I'll do it in like, let's say 245 thou increments, just a little under half the width of the end mill. Depth wise, 50 thou on steel, which isn't terrible, and it seems to manage it just fine. And that's just a homemade, call it out of cold rolled steel, 1018 cold rolled steel, and that's just the cheapest of the cheap end mills money could buy. And like I said, like the milling attachment can be rigid as hell, but if you got slop in your ways, or if this has got slop in its ways, or in the dovetail, like or in your gibs, then it's still gonna be you got to kind of anticipate what's going to happen. And I think that's probably the most important thing, just being able to see what's going to happen next here. So we'll zoom back in there, and I think I'm all set for a 50 thou depth of cut. And I'll show you, when you first start it off real slow, because like I said, that first cut's gonna want to pick it up. So like as I okay, which way did I go here? Okay, so that's down. So as I'm going up, I went to whatever yeah, somewhere in there, and then I just kind of bring it back down that way again, just so it snugs up. Plenty of oil don't hurt. Once you get a bite established, it should be relatively smooth sailing, as long as you follow those little principles. Like not every lathe is the same, I realize that. Like this lathe is 83 years old or so. She's not a new one, that's for sure. I think this end mill's getting dull too, to be honest. That's what you get for $2. Kind of lost count there. Nope, another 100 thou to go. There you go. I'm going to do 2 more cuts like that, and I'll catch you back on the last cut. 5. And once I get to the back there, I'm going to start the travel, conventional milling going down. Once I hit 700 thou, and that'll clean up that back end there. A little bit of roundness there. 600. Okay. Here's where am I going? Yep. And since we're conventional milling, should have no problem cleaning that up. They got the gives pretty tight, but they're not so tight that I can't move them. And that's her. Easy peasy. And this is kind of similar, like if you needed a T-bolt for your new quick change tool post. I guess, well, you can't go wrong making a fixture plate for your milling attachment. I didn't really make this length. Oh, here, I guess we'll zoom back in now. I didn't make this length any particular depth because that's going to be cut off right about here somewhere, and then it's just going to go straight down. Yeah, I actually could have made that side go down a little further, but that's a perfect mill right there. Nothing wrong with it. I'll back her up. And there you go. Like I said, like it's and if you follow that route, it goes relatively smooth. All right, folks, that's about it for my I don't know, milling attachment tutorial. I'm not really the guy to be doing tutorials, maybe, but it's not a tutorial. This is mostly just something that might essentially help someone else out. Big thanks to John Strange there for doing the little shout out on his channel there. And thanks to my new subscribers for tuning in. Appreciate it, everybody. I hope to bring you some more videos soon and get that shift collar and gearbox all done up, because that's a long project. This is pretty much every tool I've made thus far is kind of just for that project. So, and you know, I think they essentially come in handy for other things too, like this. Anyways, you guys have a great day. Peace out. Alright folks, well I guess I throw a little update in there. I don't have the shift collars made up yet. I wanted to make sure the gears all worked out first. But they work pretty good, I think. Nice and smooth, not chunking around. I don't know how well you can actually see those under there. Probably not good at all. I'll just stick the camera in there just so I can look at them. Yeah. Another better view maybe. We'll see. Hopefully it flipped back the right way again. Yeah, so that's all working. Anyway, the gears turned out pretty good. Nothing's jamming up or nothing, so that's good. One little problem I did come across, getting the lead screw back in here, like there was a little accident which caused this whole endeavor in the first place. I made a little back end nut here. Tried to make it look like it's made out of cast, but well, whatever. But if you watch this, that lead screw is bent. So it's no matter what I shim up in there, no matter what I've been doing, it's kind of been giving me a fucking hell of a time. It's not panning out as good as I had hoped. It's kind of nice to watch that carriage move though. At least you know that part's working. Yeah, but that lead screw is pretty bent. You can see it really good here. I'll back it up. So yeah, I don't know. I put there's a little bronze bushing in this thing. I put a bronze bushing in there. And I did put some oil in it. I haven't, I'm still I'm going to try to keep tweaking it and hopefully it smooths out a bit. But the big ends is all working good. I just Loctited that shaft into the gear for now. It's not bad. I'm sure it'll work itself in there. It's not going to be spinning overly. It's not going to be spinning anywhere near this fast. Highly unlikely. Like if I do any fancy threading, it'll probably be in back gears anyway. So, but yeah, I put some grease in there. Honestly, this top gear that's up here seems like it's missing a washer, so it's kind of just dangling there, unfortunately. So that could get improved upon too, I'm sure. Other than that, just a quick little update on the progress. We're getting there. It's an ongoing process. Next up, we'll be cutting the little slots for this. I'm gonna keep talking about it and get to it already, Chris. We'll be cutting those little slots to make the effectively make a shifter. All right, well, that's about it for this update. Catch you later. Peace out.